Deciding your training split is one of the first ever decisions you can make in the gym, no matter what training style you use, but what does that mean for calisthenics? Over my training journey, I have experimented with numerous training styles and splits ranging from full body workouts in my bedroom to days entirely dedicated to skill training before finally landing on my current split spanning all 7 days of the week, which I will share at the end of the video. Well, the first thing that anyone will notice about calisthenics is the lack of isolating movements. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still plenty, just not nearly as many as weightlifting. Calisthenics is a very compound movement-based training style that should be properly trained as such. This is why you'd never see an arms day in a calisthenics routine or training splits like the bro split. Next thing to consider is that calisthenics is a very mobility and joint straining training style. This means that in order to do certain movements, you first need the mobility to do so in the first place and the joint strength to prevent injury. Now, different training splits usually range from 3 days a week, the minimum days you should be training per week, and 7 days a week, the maximum days you can train per week. So I'm going to go over all splits catering towards calisthenics, the pros and cons of each, starting with the most common 3-day split, the full body. Now, the full body split is where you look to target all the muscles of the body within a single session, 3 days of the week. This split is absolutely perfect for beginners due to its low frequency, making staying consistent with your workouts a hell of a lot easier. However, it does have some drawbacks. Having to fit all muscles within a single session can prove to be an absolute chore, and will definitely require longer sessions than most other splits. And while prioritizing compound movements can help with these drawbacks, they will still definitely be there nonetheless. The upper-lower split dedicates an entire training session towards one half of the body, being your upper push and pulling muscles and your legs and core. This training split is essentially an evolution of the full body split, still emphasizing compound movements and grouping muscles. And with essentially half the workout dedicated to a different day, you can still squeeze in more specific muscle work here and there. The drawbacks for this split are very similar to the full body split, but just with less emphasis. Next, one of the most common, if not the most common training split of all, push, pull, and legs. Training legs once a week with the other sessions twice a week makes this split a 5-day split. Splitting your sessions into more individual muscle groups being chest, shoulders, and triceps, back and biceps, and legs gives a lot more breathing room during sessions, allowing for more individual muscles in that group to be targeted and a more thorough workout all in all. With its higher frequency paired with even spacing between sessions, you can work out 5 to 6 days a week while still having a 42 to 72 hours recovery before training that muscle group again. The only drawbacks to this being it does span 5 to 6 days of the week, meaning that your training is going to have to be an almost daily commitment. This might lead to burnout in beginners, but perfect for more proficient athletes looking to dedicate that time towards training. Next, we have a calisthenics focused split created solely with bodyweight training in mind, the bent arm, straight arm split. With a frequency of 4 days a week, this split separates your training into straight arm movements and isometrics, and bent arm rep-based movements. This helps a lot when, let's say, you're training for the planche and the front lever, but also want to work on your weighted dips and pull-ups at the same time, avoiding the overtraining and plateaus you would usually get when combining them both into one session. Okay, so I completely forgot to record the part going over the cons of this split. So one drawback is that this split is not very beginner friendly because only half of it focuses on strength building and the other half focuses on straight arm skill progression. Most beginners don't have the muscle, tendon, or joint strength to even begin straight arm skill training, making it a big risk for injury, and lack of progress can easily lead to burnout and deprived motivation to train. And finally, my personal split. Although it's nothing special, it has been handcrafted to cater towards my personal goals of eventual bodyweight mastery, taking pretty much everything I could into consideration. Starting off the week with a Sunday, I have my bodyweight push day, where I use more difficult bodyweight progressions to further strengthen my pushing movements. Moving on to Monday, I have my bodyweight pull day, focusing more on functional pulling movements like high pull-ups, slow pull-ups, and rows. Next, on Tuesday, I have my conditioning day. This day is a lot more laid back, being entirely dedicated to joints like shoulders, wrist, and fingers, and tendon conditioning. Then on Wednesday and Thursday is my heavy push and pull day. Throw on a weight vest, few compound movements, low reps. Then Friday is my functional and skills-oriented day, where I focus more on practicing balance and coordination, like in my handstand, and see where I'm at in regards to other skills. Then finally, ending off the week on a Saturday, I have my core, legs, and grip training. Core being compound statics and compression exercises, legs being unilateral exercises, mostly just keeping my physique symmetrical and allowing me to do things like a pistol squat. Then grip training, being able to hold heavy and for time, then focusing on hypertrophy for those drumstick forearms. And now that you know how to properly structure your routine, it would be really helpful if you knew how to start. If only somebody made a full calisthenics guide including exercises, progressions, and diet. Click here for the full guide.